Welcome to MoLawNow. My name is Scott Lauck, a senior reporter for Missouri Lawyers Media. Today I'm talking with William M. Corrigan Jr., a partner with Armstrong Teasdale in St. Louis. Bill Corrigan has worn a lot of hats in the course of his legal career. He's been a president of the Missouri Bar, a delegate to the American Bar Association, and a candidate for elected office. Now he's taking on a new role. On November 6th, Governor Mike Parson appointed him as a circuit judge for the St. Louis County Circuit Court. Thanks for being here, Bill.
Scott, delighted to be here.
To start off, is it still appropriate for me to refer to you as Bill, or have you already taken your oath of office and I should refer to you as Judge or Your Honor?
You should absolutely refer to me as Bill. I have not taken my oath of office. I'm not going to do that probably until about December 4th. And Scott, we go way back, so please always call me Bill.
Well, as I mentioned, some of the things that you've done, that's kind of just the tip of the iceberg. After all the things that you've done in your career, why did you want to be a judge?
Well, public service is a core value of mine. I've done a lot of different versions of public service throughout my career, Scott, and so I believe strongly in the importance of it. The judiciary impacts so many lives. It's incredible how many people are impacted by the judiciary. So the ability to impact lives in a meaningful way as a member of the judiciary and to give back to this community that I grew up in and I love is exciting for me. And it's a new challenge. I've been blessed to be in a great law firm for many years and had many wonderful experiences, many wonderful blessings throughout my career. So it's a new challenge. And, I'm only 61. I'm blessed with great health. The good Lord gave me a lot of energy. I have a good work ethic. I'm excited to work hard for the people of St. Louis County. And my goal is to be a great judge.
As you mentioned your age, obviously the Missouri Constitution does set a mandatory retirement age of 70. So you're clearly not there yet, but you'd have a little less than a decade to serve on the bench. How did that weigh into your decision to apply?
It's a great time in my life to do it. I've had a pretty broad experience in a lot of different types of civil cases, a lot of trial experience, and again, I've been blessed to accomplish a number of things in my career. So I just thought this was a great time to take the opportunity to serve the public and as I said, impact lives through the judiciary, because so many people truly are impacted by the judiciary. And you look at Governor Parson, who was kind enough to appoint me, and many of our elected officials, they're limited to 8 years. Well, I can serve more than 8 years on the bench. And so I believe during that time, with a lot of hard work, with a lot of mentorship and counsel I'll get from my colleagues on the bench, I hope to contribute materially to this county and to the judiciary and to the bar. And I hope to someday have people say he was a great judge. That's my goal.
So how do you think that your previous experiences and positions will inform your approach to being a judge? What do you bring to the job that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily have had if you had gone on the bench at a different time in your life?
Well, I've had so many different types of jobs throughout my career. I had to pay for most of my college education by working on the assembly line at General Motors. I spent one summer working on the Corvette line when it was here in St. Louis, and I spent one summer working on the pickup truck line. I've worked on loading docks, driving forklifts. I worked on the highway crew pouring asphalt. And I had to pay for all of my law school education. I clerked at the Supreme Court, worked for 2 years there during law school, and had borrowed a little bit of money to go through law school. So, I've had lots of different opportunities throughout my career. I've worked at 2 firms before joining Armstrong Teasdale. So, I've done a lot of work in the charitable space, Scott. I've been involved in Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital and the Today and Tomorrow Educational Foundation, helping kids in poverty get a good education. I care deeply about kids and helping kids. And I've worked with lots of different boards. I've been on the board of our law firm. I've been on the boards of some companies. So I feel like I've gotten to know people in all walks of life. That's the point I'm trying to make. Mm-hmm. And I think as a judge, having that perspective, having those experiences, having that empathy positions me to have the potential to be a really good judge.
What made you want to become a lawyer in the first place?
Well, when I was a little kid, I used to go to court with my father, who was a lawyer and a judge, and we used to watch trials. And I thought, I can do that, I think. And I've always enjoyed writing and speaking and advocacy. And I'm competitive. And so in law school, I loved my trial experience in law school. And I worked at a couple of great firms before joining this great law firm, and got a lot of phenomenal trial experience and deposition experience, so motion experience. So it kind of confirmed that being a trial lawyer, being lead trial counsel was something I wanted to do. And I've been blessed to be able to do that a number of times.
It's not unprecedented by any means for partners at large law firms to become judges, but it is somewhat unusual. What prevents more partners such as yourself from seeking the bench?
Well, it's a good question, and it's a very fair question because a lot of law firms, a lot of major law firm partners and successful lawyers in small firms don't pursue the judiciary. I think one of the principal reasons, if we're all honest about it, is there is a certain level of financial sacrifice you have to make to be a judge. If you're a successful lawyer, you're typically blessed with making more compensation than as a judge. So I think, Scott, that's a really a big reason that we all know. In some ways, being a judge is more limiting. You're not an advocate anymore. You're a decision maker. You've got to be patient. You've got to listen. You've got to be humble. You can't take yourself too seriously. Some of those competitive juices that I referenced a little while ago, you're no longer a competitor. You're a listener. As I said, you're a decision maker. You have to be fair. As an advocate, you're not there to be fair. You're there to advocate for your client, right? You want to win. As a judge, you have to do what you believe in your heart is right. Follow the law based on the facts. So it's a different role. And some people don't like that role. They'd rather be an advocate. And I love being an advocate, but that's another reason I think some people don't want to leave their law firms. They don't want to give up that ability to be an advocate. You have some really neat experiences. You'll do a deposition, you'll do a motion, you'll do a trial, you'll work on different types of cases. That's exciting for a lot of people. It's intellectually challenging for a lot of people. So I think that's another reason why people don't leave their law firms, whether it's a big law firm or you're a successful plaintiff's lawyer. I'm hoping that people will consider that. There's a lot of great lawyers in this town and Kansas City throughout our state. I hope that lawyers who are more senior, who have experience, I'd love for them to consider joining the judiciary and giving back in public service.
When you were president of the bar, if I recall, you had somewhat of a push to encourage more lawyers to run for the legislature. And I imagine you ran into similar issues there, that it's tough to step aside from a successful practice and then go to Jefferson City half of the year and work on those kinds of issues.
You're absolutely right. It's hard to get lawyers to leave their law firms because the legislature only makes about $33,000 a year or thereabouts. I don't know the exact number. And it's a tremendous time commitment. And during that initiative, there were a number of law firms and lawyers that stepped forward and said, we needed to support our lawyers. We need to support them in their desire to serve in the legislature. And at the time that I pushed that initiative, the numbers were an all-time low in the House and the Senate, or close to it. And we don't want too many lawyers in the legislature. I get that, but there needs to be enough lawyers in the legislature to staff the Judiciary Committee and other committees. And so that was the push. It was a successful effort, by the way. A number of folks did step up and run. And again, law firms, some of the bigger law firms supported their lawyers. That was one of my initiatives, was to encourage law firms to support their lawyers. And in fact, they did. And we need to continue to do that. We need to continue as a state to do that. It's not only a problem in this state, it's still a problem in other states. And so that number of lawyers in our legislature has ebbed and flowed. And again, I don't want to emphasize, we don't want too many lawyers, but we have to have a certain number, I believe, to help with drafting legislation, with constitutional issues, clarity in statutes, all of the reasons that we need lawyers in the legislature.
You work for a law firm with a lot of clients. You're involved in a lot of community and charitable organizations, and you have run for a partisan political office in the past. I imagine that creates a number of possible conflicts, or at least perceived conflicts. As you prepare to transition to the bench, how do you intend to navigate that?
Well, carefully. I want to make sure that I don't do anything that is either a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest. So I'll be mindful of who the parties are and who the lawyers are when I'm deciding whether I should recuse myself, and if I will err on the side of being cautious and conservative when those issues arise.
I'm sure you encountered this when you were bar president and spoke in its defense, but obviously the Missouri Bar has been a huge champion of the nonpartisan court plan. What was it like to be on the receiving end of that system?
Well, I am so humbled that plaintiff lawyers, defense lawyers, big firm lawyers, small firm lawyers, members of the judiciary, the breadth and depth of support that I received to be one of the three members of this panel. And by the way, the other two panelists, Judge Lay and Judge Zellweger, are tremendous judges and tremendous lawyers. I was honored to be on the panel with them. To make that panel speaks, in my judgment, to the importance and value of the nonpartisan court plan. I think my selection by the commission, and I thank the commission, all 5 members, I think epitomizes how the system can work. And I was a first-time applicant and to the judiciary, and it's not all that common to pick a first-time applicant, as you well know, and to be selected was such an honor, and to have the depth and breadth of the support that I had was just remarkable, and I'm so grateful for it. When the governor picked me over Judge Zellweger and Judge Lay, who again are equally qualified and would do as good, if not better, job. The depth and breadth of the support at that level, which is a bit different than the commission level, Scott, was humbling. And again, I think epitomizes the importance and value of having a nonpartisan court plan. We just went through an election, and over on this side of the state, Scott, there were many commercials that we heard involving the elected judges over in Illinois and the campaigns over in Illinois. And it cost a fortune to run a campaign and to pay for the commercials and all the other aspects of the campaign. To not have that in our major urban areas, in my judgment, is in the best interest of the people. And I think, again, you look around this country, the last time I checked, we had about 33 states around the country that had a form of our nonpartisan, our Missouri plan. So that speaks volumes about the value of this plan. So for all of those reasons, I was, delighted to go through the process. I believe the process works. I think it's fair. I think it leads to the selection of good judges. I hope someday people will say that about me, that my selection was an excellent selection by the commission and by the governor.
Well, once again, our guest has been Bill Corrigan, currently with Armstrong Teasdale and soon to be a judge with the St. Louis County Circuit Court. Thank you so much.
Scott, thank you. I enjoyed visiting with you, and best of luck to you.
And I'm Scott Lauck for MoLawNow and Missouri Lawyers Media. Thank you.